So currently it's been about 6, 7 months since I started fighting. I started training boxing, and then went on to train some kickboxing and eventually learn even some MMA. Mind you, this is all by myself or with friends. I haven't had any prior training or any coaches. And I just wanted to take this video to record what it has done in my personal life. So I got the idea to start training actually from my gym. I actually go to a gym where on the downstairs section there's a weightlifting section, but on the upstairs section there's MMA, all type of fighting equipment, and there's a lot of people who train there. And I've never really been one to be very into fighting or into even watching it. I watched a few boxing matches here and there, but once I went up one day and saw all the people sparring, it really intrigued me. I was like, how can people hit each other in the face nonstop and still be friends at the end of it? So I was with my friend and I said, why don't we give it a try? Let's just hit the bag for a bit. So we got some old beat up pairs of boxing gloves and started. About 2, 3 hours later, we had ended up punching each other in the face a few times with absolutely no form. And it was the most fun we'd had probably in the past year or so. It was amazing. Which brings me to my first point. There's not much that comes close to the exhilarating feeling you get that comes from fighting. See, in fighting, you're responsible for every single thing that happens, whether that be good or bad. You can't rely on teammates to take the blame. You can't rely on a bad coach. At the end of the day, it's you and you alone. Also, every time you get hit, it's because you didn't do something or you did something wrong. So it always keeps your mind busy, and I've always had a problem that I get bored quickly of things. And I've always had the problem that I get bored quickly. I need a lot of stimulus to my mind. And fighting does just that. There's not many things that I found that stimulate my mind like that and keep it busy. Also, before I was very egotistical, which having an ego isn't bad, but having an inflated ego and knowing that in reality you can't back it up is bad. The main thing that cured that was fighting. There's nothing more humbling than getting punched in the face and knowing that there's nothing you can do about it except get better. So that helped me out a lot. Another thing I'll say is it built my confidence to unmatched heights, but it's not in a way that's narcissistic. It's more so in a way that I'm secure in the fact that I can defend myself if need be. And I can also disassociate fighting and violence from actual hate. So I become a less aggressive person, which most people think that fighting makes you very aggressive. It makes you, ultra aggressive. No. I think it gives you that peace of mind to where, you don't have to fight. But given the chance or given the necessity, better said, if you have to fight, you'll be at least able to or have enough chances. Because, like it or not, there's going to be chances where you have to fight, whether that be because someone's continuously disrespecting you, crossing any one of your boundaries, someone inflicts some pain or starts some conflict. So it's always good to know how to defend yourself, especially as a man. Now, another thing that I started realizing is that other people would respect me more. You see, when you start fighting and you slowly get better, that ego that you start building, keep you good ego, not, pretentious motherfucker. People start, getting a taste of that. And they start seeing, wow, this guy's confident. Something about this guy's aura has changed. I wonder what's up with him. And that's because you carry yourself a different way. Now you know that you can't really be fucked with. So that makes you respect yourself, and therefore other people respect you. It also is probably one of the hardest sports, physically and mentally. Physically because you basically have to be in a fight, taking damage nonstop for 5 rounds, depending on boxing, MMA, etc. But more so mentally, because I still haven't quite figured out how to keep pushing when you're getting constantly beat. It's very difficult. And I do so anyways because, I'm a bit stern and hard headed. But for a lot of people, they quit fighting in like a week or two because it's not fun going into a gym. Everybody knows how to fight but you, and they're just beating your ass. It takes a toll on you mentally. You lose confidence, and all that ego you had coming into the gym, that chip on your shoulder, it disinflates. If you get through that phase, though, the mental fortitude that comes with it is unparalleled. I mean, if you can fight for 5 rounds and take shots and take brutal damage and still be able to come out mentally on top, I'm not even saying a win, come out mentally on top, there's not much in life you can't do. And on that same note, if you have that mental strength inside you, whoa, pause, okay. And on that same note, if you want to have that mental strength, you also need guys around you that also have a lot of mental strength, and you guys push each other. So fighting is also good for that. It makes you build connection with like-minded guys or girls, depending on who you are. And it allows you to, explore new personalities, get interactions with new people in a very positive way, because you'd think you guys would be mad at each other because you guys are fighting, but there's not much that connects two people more than sparring for a good round. It's weird. So many of you haven't pulled the plug to start training any martial arts because you're scared and maybe you don't want to admit it to yourself, so you'll say excuses like, I'm too short, I'm out of shape, I'll never be a good fighter, I don't need to fight. Those excuses are all bullshit, and you know it. For example, you're scared to fight. Good. Every single world championship fighter was still scared before their match. Doesn't change a thing. Matter of fact, people mistake courage with not being scared. That's not courage at all. Courage is being scared and doing it anyways. So being scared isn't a good excuse. I'm not in fighting shape. Good. You're not supposed to be in fighting shape. You get in fighting shape by fighting. It's also a great way for cardio, apart from the mental fortitude we were talking about. Fighting in general will get you in killer shape because you're moving around nonstop. I'm too short. That's fucking stupid. I don't know if you guys know who Alex Volkanovski is, but he's a killer, and he's what, like 5'5"? Every single body type in this sport has its attributes and it has its strengths and weaknesses. So your body cannot be an excuse at all, unless you're, a vegetable, which I understand, but 99.999% of you guys aren't. And the biggest excuse probably is that you don't have time. Well, why don't you just fucking make time? Because there's not something that's going to be much more important than building your health, building your body, and building your mind. So maybe instead of, watching reels for 2 hours, why don't you go to the gym for half an hour and just train a bit of boxing? You don't need to go all out and be a professional fighter. Just get a workout in. So now, once you've made the decision to pursue a martial art and start training, whether that be for hobby or for other aspirations, it comes down to which martial art are you going to choose. Now, before we say anything, don't overthink this, honestly. Especially if you're doing it as a hobby. Any martial art, even Aikido, will work as long as you know enough knowledge and as long as you know how to apply it. Now, granted, there are better and worse martial arts. Like, for example, boxing is a great martial art. It's super reliable. You can use it in any street fight, and technically is the only thing you should use. And it gets you in great shape. Boxing builds great fundamentals for if you want to go into MMA or kickboxing. And it's all around just a complete sport. Another good martial art to start is Muay Thai. Muay Thai is a bit like kickboxing, so it involves boxing, kicks. It also involves knees and elbows. Now, the elbows are brutal. So Muay Thai is also very good for 2 parts. First part involves basically every striking you could ever imagine. So you master striking, essentially. And second of all, it's pure pain. So this isn't for the pussies. Muay Thai is tough. But if you get through it, Muay Thai, you'll be a fucking warrior. Then there's wrestling, or BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's more grappling. And people shit on it a ton. Like, oh, you can't use it in a street fight. If you have a simple knowledge of some striking, like boxing, and are decent at grappling, like wrestling or jiu-jitsu, you will kill people. Why? Because once you get them on the ground, it's over. There's nothing they can do. So wrestling is also very mentally taxing. You would think it isn't, but it is. So it's very good if you want to become mentally strong. And BJJ is more technical, so it's very interesting. Then we have the godfather of everything, which is MMA. It basically combines every major martial art into one thing. So in my opinion, that's the most well-rounded. That's why I pursue that more. And it's a great place to start also because you learn a bit of fundamentals from everything. And there's really, if you get good at MMA, there's really nowhere where someone can attack you or like one weakness you have. Granted, you'll have, different MMA archetypes. Like someone may like striking more or grappling more, but still be an MMA. So, and there's a bunch of great martial arts that haven't been listed here that you can go ahead and practice. These are just my recommendations to start. I'd say just take a bit of time to do the research that you have to do on which martial art you like. A lot of it will depend on the money you have, what location you're in, what gyms are near you, and what's more appealing to you. And the main thing is to just start. Go to a gym, get a membership, and start practicing that. And if you really can't afford it, start at home. I learned most of the things I know now about MMA through YouTube because I still haven't had a personal trainer or any classes like that. So there's literally no excuses. If you don't have gloves, shadow box. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube of live pad work. There's no excuse on why you shouldn't be able to learn a basis of any martial art. If you do go to a gym or you do train with friends or whatever, you'll come across the word sparring. Now, sparring is not to be confused with an actual fight, but it's the closest thing to it. Sparring is basically fighting, but watered down. So in sparring, what you want to do is you want to do live drills with your partner where you guys hit each other and practice your defense, but you don't want to do it at the intensity where you would hurt each other. Why? Because there's no point in hurting each other. You're not going to be making any money. It's not going to look cool. You're just going to look like a dick. So there's no point. The point of sparring is to get you thinking about what could happen and to get those live sequences going on. It's also very fun. It's better than pad work. It's better than hitting the bag for sure. It's great. So sparring, as I said, doesn't always have to be hard. Matter of fact, it should almost never be hard unless you're training for an actual fight. There's a time and place for hard sparring. But it should almost always just be a fun, healthy way to improve each other, which is the most important thing. You guys should improve each other. You should want to be able to get out of your comfort zone because, there's no real risk. The only thing that can happen is you get punched lightly. So at first, it's going to be scary, especially if you're starting because you've never gotten punched in the face. You're like, oh my God, that must hurt so much. Getting punched in the face doesn't really hurt at all with a glove. It just dazes you. So my one recommendation would be learn to keep your guard up and don't flinch because as soon as you flinch, it's over because in a street fight, they can hit you in the back of the head, etc. It's going to be scary at first anyways, but just 2 more rounds, light, and you'll get used to it. I know it used to happen to me at first. I used to be deathly scared of sparring, especially with better people, but now I find it the most fun thing ever to do. It's amazing. So just to recap on sparring, the point of it is to progress and grow, not hurt the other person or boost your ego. And I think one of the best things by far in joining a gym or learning martial arts is the brotherhood that comes with it. You won't find people that are more dedicated and ambitious and disciplined than in a martial arts gym. And if you do, let me know. There's very little places. You think it's a terrible environment where everyone wants to kill each other, but it's actually one of the most positive environments you'll come across. I mean, everybody's trying to help the new people. They're all trying to get better. No one's trying to hurt each other. There's always that one, dickhead that's trying to kill all the new people or, trying to hurt someone. But most people don't like that guy anyway, so you don't have to feel obligated to train with them. And then outside of the gym, those people are also super nice. And obviously you guys have something in common. And as I said, if they're ambitious and driven, and you think you're ambitious and driven, which I hope you think so, you should be able to connect with them just fine. So you start building a circle that you know is gonna have your back, whether that be in public, whether that be in business situations, etc. So for me, that's one of the most important things that doing martial arts has brought to me. Apart from that, the environment of being in a gym or being with other people forces you to grow, because no one wants to be that one person that's the worst in the group or that's always getting their ass beat. It sucks. So it forces you to get better, and it forces you to be competitive, which is what a lot of people are lacking, and what's really fulfilling is competition. So having said all this, I hope I at least convinced some of you guys to maybe even look into any martial arts. I promise you that if you do have the balls to actually start training one, your life will get substantially better. And in 6 months, you can comment on this video and let me know your progress. Having said that, my IG linked in the description. It's theofficial.jorge in case you guys want to contact, reach out, talk about MMA or whatever. And yeah, see you guys.